to my sunroom in New York Wine City. This is where I depart on my Riesling adventures to the places where the best white wine on earth grows. Next stop for my video camera and I is northern Michigan. That's the coolest place in North America where Riesling grows. But don't worry, it's only the winters which are really cold. During the summer, it can be so beautiful up on the shores of Lake Michigan. Let's go there. So where are the cherries?
They've already been picked.
Oh shit, I'm too late.
You are. They were picked a long time ago.
Last year there weren't any cherries though. We got frosted out. The grapevines were fine, but the cherries were a complete loss. Which is one thing, but then the starlings that were here were ravenous. By the time Eurasian hit, they were just, I mean, there was this, it's like a Hitchcock film. There was just hordes of starlings, and they were even eating like unripe grapes and like, not even grapes in the Eurasian. I've never seen it before like that.
Now we're on the narrow Old Mission Peninsula, which is about the same size as Manhattan back in New York. It extends far out into Lake Michigan. So what is this vehicle?
This is basically my transport around the vineyards here to scare birds and get down the rows and fast, and basically it can maneuver pretty easily. Things, so beats a pickup.
Well, let's go for a ride.
All right. My dad originally planted in between 74 and 76, and there's gaps. You know, slowly I'm going through and replacing where the vineyards need to be replaced. But it still produces really good wine though, so I'm really reluctant to get rid of everything.
So what kind of soil is there here?
Pretty much whatever the glaciers kind of left behind. It's a real hodgepodge. Yeah, as you can see, this is very sandy, almost pure sand. And there'll be, it's almost like leopard spots. There'll be parts of gravel, and there'll be clay lenses that kind of creep through the soil in different spots. But for the most part, very sandy. And, you know, it'd be nice to have, beautiful slate or whatnot, but the sand is actually, I don't think we could actually grow grapes here if it wasn't like this. It's very, very porous. The water doesn't stand by the roots, and so when we have some pretty cold events in wintertime, I don't think that the roots stay fairly dry. You know, the ground doesn't crack, and I think it kind of keeps us our vines alive here.
So this is Riesling, or?
Yep, this is clone 49, Alsace clone. At least in these couple rows. I've mixed it up quite a bit. There's every possible thing I could find planted here somewhere.
Sean, what is it with 49?
Well,
you've got something about that number.
Well, I found out from our tasting room manager who's from Japan that 4 and 9 are probably the two worst combinations, or the worst combination possible. It pretty much means like imminent decline and destruction.
But this is where your lot 49 comes from,
yeah.
Huh?
Well, you know, loosely it's, you know, because of the clone from Alsace, but you know, I like Thomas Pynchon too, so I had to use that literature degree for something, so I kind of, you know, worked that way into it. It's my lot 49, and it's on a nice little hillside here, and hopefully we did everything right here. It's an organic vineyard, hence my wonderful weed collection. but some beautiful flavors come out of here. I'm really happy with this vineyard.
Sean, what makes the Old Mission Peninsula Riesling special?
Well, I live here. You know, it's it's my home. Really, I mean, we are a really odd combination. We're right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of the continent, where normally grapes would not survive. We're surrounded by this beautiful water, so we're kind of like a continental climate with a maritime influence, and there's really not many places like this, unless you go a little bit east Ontario and Finger Lakes. We're pretty much like, you know, the westernmost edge of where people would even consider doing what we're doing. A lot of it's a very narrow peninsula. It's a very special place, and we are dealing with, as one winemaker around here likes to say, we're on the edge of climatic sanity. So we're always just pulling Riesling in at the very end of October, sometimes early November, and that's where magic happens, where you get just that laser acidity and but still the ripeness in the long growing season. And
you mean you're right on the edge?
We are on the edge, and occasionally we do, we flip over to the other side, but it makes it very interesting.
So, here are the vineyards. Yeah, there they are. And here is the house. But where in hell is the winery? Spencer, you have a very unusual concept here. You're called Bowers Harbour Vineyards, and that really seems to be what you're about. Where's the winery?
The winery, we actually have two facilities in which we produce wine, and both of those are off-premise. And so you're exactly right. By design, we're Bowers Harbour Vineyards. I think the long official name is Bowers Harbour Vineyards and Winery, Inc. But the main focus for Bowers Harbour Vineyards is clearly on the vineyards that we not only have right here on our property, but all the wonderful vineyards that we get to work with, both on specifically on Old Mission and a couple on Leelanau. So my
Leelanau is the other peninsula.
The other one, that big one across the bay. But our main focus is truly the vineyard, from grape to glass. And so it's been a focus from ours since the beginning in 1990, and continues to be that. One of the bonuses of not having the winery right here on property is it allows me to fish, to golf, to travel, to be a great dad and hang out with my family. And that's a really important part of what our family business is all about, is having time to actually not submerge yourself completely in all the aspects of the winery, but to pick out the one that you're best at. And so that's what really we've done here at Bowers Harbour Vineyards, and that's kind of what my niche is.
You have a life.
I have a life. I have a great life. 2 wonderful boys and a great wife, and we live right here, and we are able to take it all in.
Chet, could I have your life?
Come on in.
Here we go again. If I don't watch out, people will say this is an action movie.
Seem to be doing a lot of driving around in golf carts here on the Old Mission Peninsula. Whoa!
What happens when you get really bored? Oh, good thing. Did? All right, let's go get some pizza, kids.
We're here to meet Brian Ulbricht, one of the winemakers who put Michigan on the wine map.
Brian,
this is a very unusual winery. Is it a winery? Is it a wine bar? You sell beer as well, I believe.
No, no beer. We drink beer, but we don't sell it.
Aha.
We make wine. We like fruit, not grain. So
But it's an unusual concept. I believe this used to be a laundry.
this is the laundry for an asylum which housed 3,000 residents and about 1,000 staff and students at the time. So yeah, it was very busy, but they used to sort dirty laundry in there, and here we sort grapes. So much better on my end.
So how did you come to run a winery in the ex-laundry of a lunatic asylum?
Pretty much I was getting a master's degree and I needed a job, and I realized that as I was cleaning a tank one day that my paycheck got wet, and I looked at it and I thought, I'm getting paid to make wine. This is real. I could do this. And so sought it out, became an apprentice, and then I don't know, somehow this kind of spun out of it. But we chose this building because it was had all the right bones. The floor was right. It was meant to handle liquids and weight and all the stuff that we would throw at it as a commercial winery, and needed a purpose, so we repurposed the building.
Riesling is a really important wine for the old Mission Peninsula and also the other peninsula, the Leelanau. It strikes me these wines have a very special personality. How do you see that?
My opinion is that they're kind of transparent in a way, and that there's some wines we try to make as winemakers or put our impact on and all that. And with Riesling, it's kind of like writing on a coin. You can scribble all the ink you want on it, but you'll never hide the face. And so we can try to cover it up or color it, but really what's coming out is that relief of the image underneath. And so what we're trying to do is grow what likes to be here and make it taste like this area. I mean, pretty much like every great Riesling area, it should reflect its environment, and I think Michigan is no different than any other Riesling area, or for that matter, I mean, any grape growing region.
Are these wines best dry, medium dry, or?
Oh, that's loaded. That could get me in trouble, but personally, I like them with a little bit of natural residual sugar from stopping the fermentation. I think we have enough acidity out here that it kind of needs to be balanced with a little softness. Sometimes it can be a little bracing or aggressive, and so leaving that little bit left over, and don't let the yeast eat it all. Maybe leave a little bit for the customer, and I think they age well and they taste a little more round when we do that trick. So that's our practice.
So Adam, is this a fairly typical landscape for the Leelanau Peninsula?
Yeah, it is. It is. You can see ahead the hills, so we're in a flatter spot right now. But yeah, you're seeing fairly typical. A lot of type of this type of growth, pine and maple and oak trees we get.
I can't see any vineyards here. Are they more widely scattered than on the old Mission Peninsula?
Well, they are. The thing about the Leelanau is that just with the area that it covers, it's much larger than Old Mission. And Old Mission's that thin strip, so you're pretty much driving by everything. You don't have a lot of room on either side to go anywhere. So the vineyards here are tucked away a lot more and not quite as visible. And a lot of the main roads that you'll travel, you'll find that that's where a lot of the development is, housing.
Housing.
Yeah, so,
Is housing another crop that's being grown here?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And in very, very high competition with grapes. Some of the best grape land have, $1 million homes on them because they've got a view.
The view.
Yeah, which means they've got the elevation, which we both want.
So as usual, I didn't have the camera ready, and This time I missed 4 wild turkeys. It's the first wild turkeys I've ever seen close up, and I couldn't press the button. Oh God.
We'll probably see more.
I have to admit it, I'm never going to be Stanley Kubrick.
So you've got a glass of the beast in your hand,
Yes,
which is what some people call your semi-dry Riesling.
correct.
But this is a very successful wine, no?
Which is why it's called the Beast. It's the beast that feeds us all. Yes, it is. It is a very successful wine. We produce more of this every year. It's about 40% of our total production. We've won more awards for this wine than any other wine. So it keeps us all happy.
Well, I find this a very satisfying balance, I have to say. It certainly isn't the sweet and simple wine which some people expect when they hear the name Riesling.
Right.
How do you achieve this balance?
By primarily conducting multiple fermentations, picking at different levels, and just trying to build flavors, being aware of, the sugars, the acid, alcohol, and phenolics and how they interplay. And
So that sounds quite complex for a wine which slips down very easily.
that's why it slips down very easily. Sometimes it takes a little work to get there.
Sadly, time has run out, and I have to return to New York City, where the wine scene is just beginning to find out about the remarkable Rieslings from northern Michigan.